Well, hello everybody. This is Patty with Get Balanced 2020, and we're here once again. And today, if you don't know what Get Balanced 2020 is, I'll explain here in a minute. But for you that do know what Get Balanced 2020 is, today we're going to talk about mind and spirit actually together. It's probably not going to be that long of a topic, but hopefully we'll get some ground covered. So we're talking about why my life didn't turn out the way I thought, or my life isn't going the way that I thought, or you know what, I haven't done anything on my bucket list, or shoot, my list isn't turning out like it should for my life. What happened? Well, and that's what we're going to talk about today. So, for those of you that are new, have never seen any of my videos, basically, Get Balanced 2020 is I educate and teach how to put your mind, spirit, and body all together to have a positive lifestyle, not only with positiveness to help you to get to the goals that you want to succeed at, but also to get your purpose in life of where your calling is supposed to be. And so that's the whole purpose of mind, spirit, and body. The mind is our processing part of our mind, and our spirit is actually what is inside of us that tells us our mind what to think, and we call that our soul. So the way it works is we start from the spirit. That's where our core values, our everything that we believe in, and our good and our bad and all that kind of stuff, it speaks to our soul, and soul is where we make our decisions and everything. So subconscious, conscious kind of thing as well. So that's what we teach. We also teach good nutrition, fitness, exercise. I have a background in exercise and nutrition, and so we put all that together, and hopefully that will bring you to a better balanced lifestyle for you. So you can find me on getbalance2020.com or on Facebook, Patty Hall, getbalance2020.com. And you can see all the videos through my website, because it'll bring you to my YouTube channel, and all the videos are there. Whatever resonates with you, if you want to just watch mind, or if you want to just watch nutrition, or if you just want to watch fitness, that kind of thing. So you can go there. So that's good for the housekeeping. But the only thing I have last to say is please, 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 if you're watching this either on Facebook or YouTube, please like and share. That's the only way we can actually get out to the people that may be needing to hear this. And maybe it's someone you don't even have an idea. But if you share it, maybe it'll help someone out there. And that's the whole idea. It's all free education with all my blood, sweat, and tear and all my money that I spent on education. But not only that, it's life experiences and one-on-one experiences with me. And also when we talk about spirituality, it's also about, I'm an empath, and so we talk about sensitivity, we talk about intuition and things like that. So let's get started, because I'm really pumped about this subject, because this is going to hit everybody. It's going to resonate with someone out there. And because most of us, especially as adults, and if you're young and watching this in your teens, your early 20s, this is probably going to help you to better your choices in your life, and also be able to understand how life goes, and it doesn't just go straight. So this will hopefully help you to make better choices. So when we're going to get on to the subject of, and I've got notes, so I have to do this because, my brain, I keep thinking of too many things, and I get downloads from the divine. So what we want to do is we want to talk about what about our life didn't turn out the way that we wanted it to. Was it maybe our career? Was it a relationship? Was it both? Was it your travel? Was it just things never ever turned out? Okay, so that's what we want to talk about. And what we're going to do is we're going to pick it point by point. So get a pencil and paper, and maybe something resonates with you and you want to write it down. I always, 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 in any of my videos, if you continue to watch, please write pencil and paper, and so we can write it down. I can't speak today. I've been working all day, and so this just came to me, and I just need to do this video. So it's for somebody out there, and I hope it helps. So what is it about us that we want to actually think that why things didn't go as planned? So when we look at life, we look at it almost like from a list perspective. It's almost like our resolutions. We get frustrated with our resolutions because they don't ever happen, or we get started with good intentions and they fizzle out. And the reason why that happens is, one, we need to build stamina, perseverance, resilience to just keep focused, keep moving forward. That's one of the things. But the biggest thing is that we make a list. We really shouldn't be making a list for anything, because if you believe in the divine or God or anybody as a creator, you're going to find that they're going to come in and tell you that you think you know what you're doing. They're going to have you go this way rather than the way that you think you should be going. So your expectations from your list are going to get altered. And so when we have, and this happens in relationships too. So when we have expectations, so I'm going to have you write down, the first thing we're going to talk about is write down expectations plus reality equals frustration. Yes, it does. It does. It's frustrating, because here's the thing. Let me give you an example. You go on a date and you're expecting that person to look nice, all dressed up, and you get there and they're in jeans, a hoodie, a t-shirt, or maybe they're just, got off the job, and maybe they're a painter and they're full of paint or whatever it is, and that's really not what you were expecting. So what is your feeling when that comes? So you get frustrated. You're like, or you're maybe like embarrassed, or maybe the communication wasn't clear. But the whole point is what you expected, and that expectation was let down. The reality is he came or she came not the way that you had totally planned. And maybe you're going out to a nice dinner, so things are going to have to change. Expectation to go to a nice dinner plus reality, frustration. And so when we do things like that, when we expect things to be a certain way and they don't turn out that way because reality is set in, then we get frustrated. We might get angry, we might feel hurt, or things like that. So that's where those feelings come in. Now, when we plan our life, as a young person, I never in my life expected to be in a horse business, sewing, let alone, because I hated sewing in high school. Couldn't really sew. But the thing is, here I am owning a business that I actually am professionally sewing for horses, boat covers, equipment, that kind of thing. Because what I found out, my expectation, I thought going in, was I'm going to hate sewing. No, what I found out was, because there was a little switch, is I hate sewing on small machines. I love big machines. I'm big. I'm like the tool man. When it comes to sewing machines, yes. So I like big. So what I didn't realize is, going in, my expectation was, why am I going to do this? I'm not going to like this. I love it. I love it. I get to work with leather. I get to do the things that I want. So my expectations were way off of what I was thinking. So that's the real problem that we have, is we're expecting our life to turn out a certain way or go a certain way. And then when it doesn't happen, we get frustrated. Well, you know what? That person always gets to it. And then we end up comparing to everybody. Why does that person get to do it just easy like this? And then basically I'm struggling all the way. So expectations plus reality equals frustration. Now, why is it that we have expectations? Because in our mind, we have this idea that we need to have like a list. I was listening to a pastor this last Sunday, phenomenal young pastor. I put him on my Facebook every now and then. But the thing is, he was spot on, because we make lists. And when we make a list of something, then we end up having expectations, just like our New Year's resolutions. and then they fail. So what we need to do is not make lists, because we can have ideas and goals, but you better be prepared to really fight for those goals and have a focus on your goal, because there's going to be temptations, there's going to be outside things coming in, and you're going to be pounded with all different sorts of things to take you off course of your goal. I've done it many a time. I have accomplished everything in my life that I have set out to do from this earthly, secular perspective that I can. And I did it because I had to stay focused. And that's the only thing is I never set a plan. I never set a list out what I was going to do. I had a goal, I tackled it, I move on to the next one. I had a goal, I tackled it, I moved on to the next one. I didn't say, well, I want to by 25 be married and have kids. I want to have a job. I want to have $100,000 job by this time. Then you're setting yourself up for expectations. You hit reality and you're going to be frustrated, because maybe that is not your calling or even for your journey. So you really, when you do those things, even for our kids, it's really hard. I have a real hard time with our school system, our college system, because it sets kids up, especially high school kids, achievers. For example, there is a student who is a 4.0 student, does all their work hard, finishes with a 4-point plus grade point average, can get into a school with a small scholarship, but then the rest of it is left on them for loans. Then maybe they're let down. Maybe they picked a college that they wanted to go to, but that college in admissions and registration lied through their teeth, and now they're left frustrated. They're left frustrated because they had an expectation what the school would offer them. Then a reality hit that they were lying through their teeth because they wanted to just keep their numbers up. And the student has to make a decision. Do I go and be a guinea pig, or do I step out and readjust my life? What a tailspin for somebody. And it didn't have to be that way for a young student. It doesn't have to be that way, especially for students that are struggling to get financial aid or getting financial assistance. Colleges now, you're looking at almost $100,000 for these kids to come out with a loan. So they're really serious about what they want to do when they go to college. So what we do is we begin to set up expectations at an early age, to have them set a list, only to set them up sometimes to be frustrated and feel like they failed. There's no failure. There's life lessons, and I get bombarded by people saying, well, there is failure. No, there isn't. There's life lessons. Whether it was your life lesson it's supposed to be or not, then that's all there is. It's a lesson, whether you learn it or not, and it keeps going over and over again. You are going to have lessons that keep happening over and over again until you get it into your head and your heart that you need to change to make things happen. Whew, that was a mouthful. So expectations can happen at any age. We need to teach our young people not to expect certain things and educate them that switchbacks happen in life, just like when we're riding horses on a trail. Switchbacks happens, and sometimes there's a drop off there, and you got to make a decision whether you want to go that route or not. But again, when we do that, where is the decision coming from? So is it a secular, an earthly decision that this is what I should be doing, I want to be doing, or is it actually your calling which you're supposed to have in your heart, in your being of what your purpose is supposed to be on this earth? So when we talk about expectations and we move into where do we go with a decision of where we want to take our life, or how this life is really even supposed to unfold like an onion, peel it down, okay? Because a lot of the times when you have expectation and then the reality sets in and you get frustrated, you completely feel unfulfilled. You feel down, you feel depressed. Then you look at everybody else. Big mistake. Stop that. Stop looking at everybody else, because you're not supposed to. Why would you do that to yourself? You're setting yourself up to lower your vibrations and just woe is me. Stop. Don't do that. Because the unfulfilled part, let me tell you, you ready to write down another one? The reason why you're feeling unfulfilled is because the decisions that you made for your life that you thought were supposed to be the way life should go was not really supposed to happen. You know why? Because the great divine's way of thinking and the way that your life is supposed to go is night and day. Night and day. Because his calling for your life, if it is the way that it's supposed to go, things would flow. I'm not saying that there's not going to be some rough times, but things would flow. And the reason is that would be your calling. When you feel unfulfilled, that's an external happening, and they call it happiness, sadness. Now, if it was your calling, and you might get a little frustrated, or people do, we're all human. But the thing is, if it is your calling and where your purpose is supposed to be, you're going to feel joy, you're going to feel peace. It's just going to be, piece of cake. Not a problem. And you know what? The more that you fight yourself to make your life go a certain way, the more you're going to be frustrated, the more expectations you're going to have, the reality, and it's just not going to jive. You know why? Because it'll keep going in circles and not be easy until you stop, follow what your heart and your intuition is telling you, because that's God or the divine or whoever you want to call it talking to you and telling you, hey, knocking on that door. Hello. I'm trying to get you to go this way because you know what? I got great plans for you. I got a humongous reward for you. Hey. And you just sit there and you just keep going the other way. And then, you know what? Life passes by. And then you're like, my life just didn't turn out the way I want. Well, maybe stop trying to control your life. Stop pushing for things that aren't even supposed to be in your life or people that are supposed to be in your life, and go forth with whatever is being guided to you. Everybody knows inside of them something that they should be doing. I shouldn't say should, want to be, because should is an obligation. Different topic for another time. What they want to be doing and what feels good to be doing it and has a little passion in there, a little fire, that little flame is going to flicker really, really big. It's become a bonfire when you actually go that way and watch the miracles happen. I'll give you a quick story. I know this for a fact. I know. I've witnessed it. I've walked this. I have done it over and over again. As soon as I start wanting to go my way, I back myself up and think, is this the way I need to be going for my calling, my purpose in life? And that's the thing that we need to be looking at over and over and over again. If you were sitting in front of me and one of my clients, I'd be sitting there. Is that really what you need to be doing? Because that's what you want to be doing? Or is it what the higher power wants you to do? Give you an example. 2003, I was working in chemical dependency. I actually found out, and I knew that it was coming, that the company was bought and my position was going to be ixnayed, right? So I'm like, what am I going to do? Single mom, don't know what I'm going to do. So then I'm like, okay, I'm actually doing leather work at that time. And I was trailing alongside the blanket company that I actually ended up buying. Well, let me back up a little bit. I was a single mom, broke as broke could be, still trying to get through life, trying to figure things out. And the lady approached me and said, would you like to buy my company? And I'm laughing because I don't have money. So then I go ahead and something tells me to check into SCORE, which is a free organization. It's s.c.o.r.e. And if you want to start a business, that's where you need to go to start, because there's where you need to build your business plan and you need to get some instruction. And these are retired business owners, phenomenal free service. So somebody said to go to the SCORE, went to SCORE. I had no plans of buying this company. Zero, none. Didn't want to sew, didn't want to do anything. Again, My expectations were sitting there thinking, I don't want to sew. I hate sewing, blah, 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 blah. So, but I'm sitting there. I need to do something. Let me check into it. I love horses, so let me check into it. I love doing my leather work. Let me check into it. So Score said, got my business plan all designed, ready to go, said, go over here to this company for a minority loan. I'm like, minority? I don't look like I'm a minority. You're a woman, you're a minority. Boom. This all happened in a very short time. Went to the loan company. They laughed at me because of what kind of business I wanted, but yet they were curious enough to let me do my spiel, did my spiel. Lo and behold, I got the loan to buy the blanket business. Then I turned around, bought the blanket business, moved the blanket business, grew 33% in the first year. And oh my gosh, I was exploding and didn't have any idea how it happened so fast. That is the divine. And I loved everything that I did about my business. I'm getting goosebumps. I know it was him. This is what I'm talking about. I had no expectations going in, was not let down, had no reality hit, but because I had no expectations, life went smooth, was great. I was happy. I'd do it all over again in a heartbeat, even with all the problems and everything that we had a little bit later down the road. You know, with the bookkeeper, got to be careful of those bookkeepers sometimes, not saying all, but sometimes. So that's my example. Don't set expectations up. If you're wanting to date, if you're married or whatever it is, I would say to the singles, don't have expectations of that other person, because here's the thing. When we talk about expectations and hurt and brokenness, we talk about hurt only because the thing is that we think that that other person hurt us. Did they really? Think about that a minute. Did they really, really hurt us? Or were our expectations too high, in the wrong space, didn't even have a clue about them? Reality hit, hurt set in. Now think about that. If you go on a date and maybe the guy says, or the girl says, hey, I'm going to call you, but in your gut, you know things weren't quite going that good, but you sort of expect him or her to call you, you are expecting something that wasn't actually knowing going to happen, probably. So don't set yourself up. Just don't set yourself up that way. Hurt will happen when we expect something from someone that we perceive that they should or should not be doing, and that doesn't happen, then we get frustrated. We need to step back and check ourselves and say, hey, I sort of expected them to call me. Did they say that they were going to call you by a certain day, certain time, or whatever? Thank you for that. Is that your time frame to call back might be 100% different from theirs. Maybe you're thinking, oh, they'll call me back in an hour or two. Maybe 3 days go by and they didn't. Well, I'm calling you back. Well, it's a little delayed. What are you doing? Well, that was their idea of calling you back. So your perspectives are very, very different. So when you expect things, realize that it is you that needs to check yourself, not them. You should have your standards of what you want in life, and you should have, what do I want to say? You have to keep a certain amount of standards. Even going into dating, into your job, you should have questions. If I were to go get a job right now, coming from the job I'm in, I would have a lot more different questions for the next job. But I cannot expect anything from that other job because I don't know. It's the unknown. It's the unseen. It's something that I have to go swimming in and check it out before I can actually say, hey, yeah, maybe this is a job I want to do. These are just examples of things in life that might be coming your way. So when you're in your calling, a lot of the times you're not expecting, but also too, sometimes when we go and we look at, for example, a person and we prejudge them, or especially like a homeless person, for example, we prejudge them. We say they're a bum. Oh, they're probably addicted to drugs. We're judgmental on that. And that's not good to do. We don't want to do that. We wouldn't want that done to ourselves. And so sometimes my daughter, I'm so blessed and proud that she does this because she'll check me sometimes. So if you're looking at somebody, we need to change our heart. So when we're looking at life and things didn't turn out the way that we expected, we need to check our heart that maybe that homeless person is a professor from a college, their wife died, their family fell apart, they lost their home. And many of us are, especially during the COVID, are just not even one step away from being in that situation. We've got our whole foot almost in and we don't even realize it. So we need to be humble and understand what other people might be going through. Thank you. I'm getting goosebumps. I guess I'm supposed to be saying this. We need to be humble, but we also need to understand that maybe that person is not supposed to be in our life. We have to check ourselves. Don't make a list, like women. Oh, I want him tall. I want him 6 feet. I want him to have a nice six pack. I want him to have $100,000 in the bank. You need to throw that crap away because the person that God may have you intended to be with might be a little bit chunkier, might be a little bit older, maybe not as handsome, but the heart is in the right place. You're expecting something, then reality hits, and then you're frustrated, depressed, sad, angry. Check yourself. Because the thing is, you've got to look from a spiritual content. That's why I said we're mind and spirit today, because you have to check yourself in your mind, which is your consciousness. Your subconscious is your soul and your spirit. And you need to make decisions for your life based on spirit and soul, and your life would end up being so much more easier and better, and your calling would be fulfilled. And the calling is not for you. The purpose in this life is not for you. It's for you to touch others, love others, and grow others, whatever your gifts and talents are. Does that make sense? Whatever your gifts and talents are, you are to be touching others with those. Well, I don't have any talents. You have talents. You're not paying attention to what those talents are supposed to be. It could be just as little as maybe you're a student and you're a good writer. Maybe it's supposed to be helping another student that just doesn't write as well. That's a small talent, but it's a big talent to somebody. You look at the little things that you take for granted that you think are small, but turn around for somebody that can't do it is huge. That's why I don't charge a lot for my business, for my leather work and things like that, because it is a skill that I take for granted, maybe sometimes, because even like my bookkeeper said, you have a skill, you have skills that you paid big bucks for in school, in education, blood, sweat, time, effort. Don't give it away. I truly sort of believe a little bit of that because some people you give them an inch, they'll take that mile. But at the end of the day, my gifts and talents should not be overcharged for because that's what I do. I get it. Money is money. That's secular. That's not a spiritual thing. I'm a spiritual person. As long as I'm paying my bills and everything is being set and cool, I need to be helping somebody with my stuff. I need to be helping people with their leather work, with their education, with helping them. That's my calling. And so that's what I do. So now I didn't used to do this, and I would see reality and get frustrated and depressed. And this is where a lot of our younger generation are having a problem, is that there's no resilience, because as soon as they expect something to happen a certain way, and it doesn't because reality hits, we have a ton of depression, a ton of suicidal attempts and suicide, sadly. We have a ton of anger. Why isn't this turning out? My teachers told me that this was what I'm supposed to do, and I went and did it, and look at, I don't even have a college degree because I couldn't afford it. Anger. And anger comes with a lot of different things. But do you see how when you expect and put reality together, I'm going to keep coming back to that. Okay. So you got to look for God's, yeah. I'm just going through this. I'm getting some downloads here. So I guess what I'm going to end up saying is that we need to understand that now somebody's going to ask me about, well, what's my destiny? What's my destiny? I want to know my destiny. So you go to all kinds of silly things and try to find your destiny through false secular kind of stuff. But the thing is, if you understand what destiny is and if you understand what your purpose is, it's actually two different things because people sort of use the words a little bit wrong. My destiny is not that I am going to be rich and famous or I'm going to be an actor. It's destiny is the parts to get you to that purpose. The end purpose, the end goal is to be an actor. Destiny is, oh, well, this dot happened, and this dot happened, connect the dots, this dot happened, connect the dots, this dot happened, connect the dots, and then the end dot is you're an actor. That's what destiny is. And a lot of people will call it coincidences, or there's a reason why that happened. So you have to really spiritually watch and listen to those things connect in your life. I sat there and I realized just last year, I was like, light bulb moment. I saw dots connect through my whole life that I would have never, ever, ever had a clue. The only thing that I still can't figure out is why did I live in Japan for so many years, speak Japanese, and here I am. I don't know. That dot hasn't finished connecting to my purpose yet. So who knows? So, but I'm just saying that maybe it was just a season in my life as well. So if you're feeling like you're fighting a losing battle, I'm going to wind this up. If you feel like you're in a losing battle, if you feel like you're in a horribly wrong situation you should have never got in, if your life is not turning out the way that you expected it to, then it's time to sit down and reevaluate. And the first thing I'm going to do is on a piece of paper, tear up the list that I have of anything, expectations of anything, and do not go there again. Just allow things to flow because we don't want expectations and to meet reality and then it not. It's very rare when we secularly say this is what I want to do, because sometimes when we do that, it's very short-lived. It's not for a lifetime. And we go through changes in our lifetime, and sometimes our purposes may change a little bit. There is a path, but maybe there'll change along the way to grow us to that next step. But the thing is that we want to make sure that we do not set ourselves up to be disappointed. We want to be able to lift up and lift vibrations and watch what happens. So you're not going to expect, oh my gosh, expect plus reality. We don't want to be frustrated. Next thing is that you're going to allow yourself to sit and hear, feel your intuition, what it is that there is a passion for, what it is that you have a desire to do. Now, desires are really a different thing because what we desire is more of a human secular thing. What we need is what divine or what God will give us. And he gives it to us only if we're fulfilling the purpose that he wanted for us. So we can desire things. There's nothing wrong with that. But what we really, really need, like I was talking about the guy, I want a 6-foot guy, maybe, six pack, all that kind of stuff. But maybe God or your divine is saying that's not what you need. What you need is somebody who is structured, somebody who has, what do you call it, an authoritative position or whatever it is. Just examples, okay? So what you want, what you need are two different things. So that is what you have to really listen to. You will fight against that because that's human nature. It is very hard to say, well, but I want this. Yeah, well, I want a hot tub and a house on 10 acres and all that kind of stuff too. Doesn't mean I can't have them. It's just, is that what the divine wants for me? Maybe it's not good for me. Maybe I'd never take care of it. Maybe I have a physical ailment that's coming that I wouldn't be able to take care of it. So this is what I'm talking about. There is a reason for everything. There is a season for everything. So maybe you're not ready for whatever it is. And that's when we get steered off course. It's like, no, I don't want you to go quite there yet. I don't want you to go quite there yet. I know I failed. I didn't fail. What do you call it? I was listening to God. I did something that was not obedient. Boy, did I get spanked. But what I heard was, now you understand how strong I feel about this. Now, the next time you will not do it again, and you are ready to go to the next level. I'm not talking about level is in, that kind of thing. The next phase of your journey. So a lot of the times when we get slapped, spanked, and we aren't doing what we're supposed to be doing, which we know deep inside what we should be doing, and we need to be doing it, then it would make things easier. You would get to your purpose much faster. You get all the rewards that you needed much faster. And that's the thing is, lastly, when we go ahead and we do things that some people say break us, some people say go through a storm, some people say like this COVID, it is just HE double toothpicks. We're going through that kind of thing. But the thing is, it is for a reason. You need to be listening to that, what you should be getting out of that lesson. And that's the thing, so that when you go on to your life's journey for the next step and you live day to day, yes, if you want to save money, you want to do that kind of thing, yes, of course, you have to plan for certain things. We're not to hoard. God calls that a foolish person, because I could go into another story, but I won't. But the thing is that we want to make sure that it didn't break us. And like they say, we'll get through this COVID. We'll all get through this. And that is very true. We all will get through it. It will be fine. And I understand some have passed. It was their time. Unfortunately, my hearts go out to those people and their families big time. You have no idea. But the thing is, it will be fine. It will be fine. When my brother was murdered, I never thought things would be fine again. They will be fine. And it will it'll be good again. But that breaking point is the growth point, as we talked in the series last month of getting to your roots. That breaking point, that dark point, that is a growth point. Learn, listen, and understand what you're supposed to be doing. Follow your intuition, follow your heart. Stop listening to all this secular, well, you should be doing this, you should be doing this. Stop listening to people, because you know what? They don't know better than what your spirit is telling you, because they didn't create you. So stop listening to them. And actually look at their life. Is their life as good and dandy as it should be? And you're listening to them? No. No. So listen to your higher power. Okay? So lastly, let's recap. So we're going to not make expectations. We're not going to make lists. Rip those suckers up. Because you know what? You're setting yourself up for disappointment, anger, frustration, and everything like that. Go in with an open mind, open heart. Listen closely. Understand that whatever is going on between two people, if you're going into a relationship, their perspective and my perspective is different. Step back and try to understand their perspective. Maybe you'll understand that whole process of communication better, but don't expect somebody to, expect somebody to act, react, speak, or not speak based on your expectations and your perception of what should be happening. Okay, that's huge. That is so huge. That's a whole communication um, course there. Okay, and then lastly, let me see here. Last recap is that what your path and what the divine's path, heavenly path is, it's night and day, because you're going by what you desire, and that higher power is going by what you need. And a lot of times it's the complete opposite of what my connection. Oh shoot, my connection faulted, so hopefully I didn't lose you guys. Um, but at the very end, it will be a very beautiful, beautiful way to a new journey in life. Hopefully, this has sort of helped give you some ideas, give you some thoughts, give you some life journey goals. Make sure that you do have something in your heart that you would like to do, but just don't expect it to turn out anyway, and you might see it turn out more beautiful than you ever thought. So with that, I'm going to say goodnight. Time to go eat dinner. It's been a long, long day. Love you guys. Hope this helped. Talk to you soon.